Gentlemen, welcome to the Digestif. How we doing?
Welcome.
I appreciate you just rolling, because then, we can talk about snuggling a little bit before we have to get into the less fun stuff, which is this show. How we doing, guys? Hope you had a great week. We did for sure. It's been fun. I am Sam Ushman. To my left, Robbie Sco.
Here. We're doing it.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
You're like an intern who works for AC/DC.
Yeah, switch it up today. I bought jeans.
Yeah.
Didn't have jeans. We're doing different things.
A little bit on the wild side.
Mm-hmm.
You got more of a rave vibe going on.
Yeah, that's funny you mentioned that. I kind of got this shirt at a rave, even though it's not a very ravey shirt. It says Think Design Print. So it's just an advertisement for a shirt making company.
So the shirt has a rave essence to it, but the actual slogan's very Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yes.
That's fun.
Very Staples, Office Max.
Oh, for sure. Lucas is rubbing off on you.
Oh, a little bit,
I'm going to burn that TD Ameritrade graphic tee.
Oh, my God.
It's not good for the psyche. It's not great.
Not ideal.
It's not great. But it's good to be here. We're live here on the Digestif. I had a good week. Things have been fun. My wife was supposed to be on the show, and she could not make the show. And, that's a loss for us because, she is a professional person. This is a person with a real career. This is a person who books a lot of high-end event clientele, deals with important people, and she was willing to try to get out of her event early to drive an hour and a half to do this show. Now, Robbie, I really respect and appreciate what we're doing here. I want to preference that, right? But the priorities of my wife to even attempt to possibly make that happen is just pure delusion. I'm a lucky,
right?
Lucky man. And I'm going to, this is going to probably sound corny. I'm trying to give my wife, I'm trying to get myself brownie points, it sounds like, with my wife. But I do sincerely mean that I am a lucky little sack of shit. That I have a person who loves me, who is really trying to prioritize this show. Now, in 2 years, maybe that will be different, right? Maybe we'll have more of a following and we'll be having some fun, doing some things. But this is episode 4. And she was trying to, leave the real city right in the heart of New York, trying to get out a little early, hop on 287, trying to get here in a reasonable amount of time. And finally, I was just like, babe, what are you doing? I'm like, just come on the show next week. She's like, okay. And that is really why I am so lucky to have a person that has that thought plane. That is a person that is a ride or die, man. She is the epitome of a ride or die. She puts so many people above herself, and that is why when I met her, I said, bingo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's great, man. I'm excited to have her on. I appreciate her even thinking of hopping out. It's going to be great.
She is completely out of her mind, and I think she'll add a lot. I think she'll add a lot to the conversations we've been having. Some of the relationships and rapport we've been breaking down have been evolving, right? Mm-hmm. On episode 1, there were a lot of things in the air, a lot of possible relationships, a lot of possible flirtation in the air. But they were all little seeds, Mm-hmm. And now they're a sprout. Episode 4, they're a sprout. I can't wait till they're a little tomato tree. They're a little tomato plant.
Coming soon.
That means all the baggage is going to start to grow on every vine. That's the tomato. The tomato is all the baggage and fuckery and self-deprecation that's going to come with any level of unjustified happiness, right? So I can't wait for that to happen. You must be excited more than me. It's your life.
Well, that phrase "unjustified happiness" is planted in my head. But yeah, I'm excited, man.
It should stay there.
Excited.
I mean, you're a man that almost died from the vaccine.
Yeah, I still got a cough, man. So we're recording this on June 22nd. I got the vaccine June 1st. I got a consistent cough, but then when I had COVID, I was coughing from November to January. So still not that long.
You're just, the thing is, you're sickly. Your skin.
Sickly, man.
You have fair skin. You always look sick. And that's a look. That's the thing. In Brooklyn, that's a look. Just to always look slightly under the weather. It always looks like you have an edge to you because you're a sickly, under the weather European man.
It helps for buying clothes off the rack.
Oh, absolutely. You look like one of the models. They're made out of white plastic. They look just like you. Take that model, give him a little bit more, slight bit of muscle definition, give him a nice head of hair. I'd fuck that. Let's do a poll. Who would fuck that? Who of our female listeners or male listeners, please chime in. Who would want to fuck that? Charlie would.
Oh.
We'll dive into that interview in a second. We had a fun time with the world's most inspiring trainer.
That's amazing.
Before we do that, we're drinking some wine as always. I picked a good one this week. I will say I brought out one of the bigger guns this week. This is in my repertoire of favorite wines that I like to drink casually. This is the Alban Clement, and the pronunciation is that. It's spelled A-U-B-O-N, and then it looks like Climat. It's Alban Clement Pinot Noir from the Santa Barbara region of California. This is a beautiful Pinot done in a climate that is suited for Pinot. What does that mean? What does it take to do a high-level Pinot Noir? And starts with a number of factors. First of all, climate can't be too hot, can't be too cold, can't be too rainy, can't be too moist, can't be too this, can't be too that. It is the fucking like TikTok star in the dating world that thinks it deserves something better than what it really is, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I need a guy who's funny, but also is financially stable, doesn't have any kids. I don't want any extra baby mamas. I want someone who doesn't have too many dreams, just wants to take care of me. It's like, it's a fucking buffet. That's the climate Pinot Noir wants. It's a goddamn buffet. I'll take a little bit of this. Ooh, don't want that. That's ooky. That's nasty. I'll take a little bit of this, though. Ooh, definitely don't want that. That's what Pinot Noir needs. The perfect condition of dry grow seasons, continental climate, warm, long grow days, and in a climate that also is moderately windy and breezy, because when there's breeze in the vines, that allows a lot of things not to happen, like a lot of a rot could happen in grapevines. A lot of moisture can build up, and that could create disease. Pinot is very susceptible to diseases. So this is a grape that is just a borderline cunty bitch to grow, but that's the beauty of a cunty bitch, is that if you can make it work, the sex is incredible. Sex is phenomenal. And if you can make it work, if you can make Pinot Noir work in the vineyard, the flavors are second to none. You want to talk about the most iconic wines in the world. There's a wine called DRC. It's in Burgundy, France. It stands for Domaine Romani Conti. It's in the Vence Romani region of Burgundy. It is a single plot of vines on the perfect slope and the perfect climate, perfect terroir that has that. It's these vines are as cunty as they come, because they need everything to be perfect. But when it is, these wines go for tens of thousands of dollars, because it is the world's most renowned Pinot Noir, and it demands those prices even over the great Cabernet Sauvignons of the world because of the complexity this grape can show. It's a thin-skinned grape. So what that means is lower tannin, higher acidity, more flavor. It's not just fruit. It's earthiness or stinkiness. It's like a Filipino vagina. It's like a little bit of like truffle, like mushroomy, earthy notes. It's like having sex in a tent on your first camping trip.
Ooh, intense.
Why you have pink eye, right? There's just a lot
What the
of
hell?
There's a lot of flavors. There's a lot of sweat. There's a lot of moisture going on. Pinot Noir exemplifies the vineyard. It shows off the flavors of the vineyard, whether it's the soil, the minerality, the things around it. If it's close to a body of water, it could show salinity. It could show all these things. And then it's known to have some very iconic fruit notes. For me, a big thing is like cranberry and pomegranate with Pinot Noir. So if you get like a red cherry, pomegranate, cranberry thing, let me know if you get some of that.
Get some pomegranate for sure.
Little pomegranate, right? It's nice. It's such a beautiful thing. And then you get a little bit of that earthy smokiness. And then there's just, with Pinot, you can do it unoaked. You can do it in new oak. You could do it in neutral oak. You can do it a lot of different ways. California tends to do something called neutral oak, meaning an oak barrel that's been used time and time again. So it rounds out the texture of the wine a little bit, but it doesn't over impact too many oak flavors, because that will take away from the beautiful flavors of the grape. But this is like the prima donna of wine. This is the sexy wine. This is the first date wine. This is the wine where if you like to eat ass, if you're on like a hot first date and you're going to eat this chick's ass, you're going to have a bottle of Pinot Noir first. You're both getting in that mood, and you just look at the girl and you go, listen, I'm here for you tonight. What can I do for you? What can I lick, suck, fucking play with? What do you need from me? We're having a beautiful bottle of Pinot Noir. Let's get the fuck after it. That's Pinot Noir, in my opinion. But let's give it a smell and a taste. I want you to get into the habit when we taste wine. Let's smell it first. We're going to swirl it around. Why do we swirl? We're swirling because we're allowing the grape juice to hit oxygen at a more rapid pace. When oxygen hits the wine, the flavors naturally travel upwards. So we swirl so that the flavors are more intense on our nose and on our tongue. So we're going to stick our nose all up in the glass, take a smell of it, and then you're going to take a taste of it. And I want to, let's break down what we think.
Amazing. Yeah, even outside of all the notes you just mentioned, the pomegranate, everything, I just appreciate the bar being raised. Like, I know this is some good shit right here. And also related to what I just ate too. I just had like a burger and fries. I'm trying to listen to Charlie, continue to eat and become. I love him today.
You got a carb up, you do. Everybody
carb up.
knows that about you. Mm-hmm. That's fine.
It was great. I love him today. He was like, "You need to suffer. I need you to be big and strong." I'm like, yes.
He's going to be one of the mascots of the show.
I hope so.
I want to enjoy some wine with Charlie. I think Charlie would get some tasting notes.
Oh, hell yeah.
He would just say, "This tastes like my ex." That's something Charlie would say. But yeah, I you're spot on about, you don't have to, in my opinion, know too much about wine to understand when you're tasting something where the bar's been raised.
Mm-hmm. The other thing I want to mention, like, with what I ate, it just sits so well. If this makes any sense, I feel like I taste this in my stomach. Like, it doesn't just sit in the throat. I like, it's like setting this casting, like, into like nice and warm and getting let down. It really like fills the linings.
I agree with that. No, I feel the same way. I also think for you, it's more so because there's nothing ever in your stomach.
So it's really just woo.
So it's going right in there, and it's like lights on, nobody's home. Stomach's here, nothing's in it. What is your body processing? No, you're right, and this is the kind of wine too. We opened this about 20 minutes ago. 30 minutes from now, the last glass we have of this bottle is going to taste significantly different from the first glass. So think about that throughout the show while we're sipping on this. The more oxygen that hits this wine, there's so much to show in a well-done Pinot Noir. Because when you're able to have a good year in the vineyard, get that fruit at the right amount of brick levels, what does that mean? That means the sugar to water ratio in the grape. For good Pinot Noirs, roughly, especially in California, you're shooting for anywhere from 19 to 22 bricks. That means 19 to 22% sugar to water in the grape. You don't want to be much lower than that because then it's going to become too acidic, not enough fruit. The beautiful thing about this wine is it's light, it's sexy. We're getting the acidity, meaning is your mouth salivating right now when you take a sip? Do you feel your mouth water when you drink this wine?
Mm-hmm.
So that is a direct reflection of the acidity. If your mouth was drying, that's how we know the wine might have more tannin. And that's usually not going to happen with Pinot Noir because as a thin-skinned grape, we get tannin from skin contact in the wine, in the juice. So if it's a thin-skinned grape, it's not going to be as much of that. So the acidity is going to really prevail. So essentially, this is a wine that will open up in the bottle, but it's also ageable. Like this is a wine where you should buy 2 bottles. One to have with your new formidable suitor that we will get into very shortly. Tomorrow night. You have a really good Pinot. You try to remember it. Remember what you liked about it. Remember what you ate with it. And you take the same bottle from the same producer, from the same vintage, and you throw that into a room that is not absurdly hot or horribly cold. Like give it a nice room temperature to just sit, put it on a shelf somewhere. Ideally, purchase a wine fridge. It's a great investment. But you let that wine age in that bottle for another 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And you open that wine up, that same vintage, and it's a completely different wine. It's everything in the wine softens a little more. The fruit tends to take more of a back seat, and all this earthy minerality, black peppery type of notes that are still there take more of a front seat. And the more layers of flavor come out as the wine ages. That's the coolest thing about wine. That's why wine is the coolest fermented beverage in the world. It's a living, breathing thing. It's in the bottle. A thing is fucking alive. It's developing. It's growing a personality. It's shy in the beginning or it's bold in the beginning. Like a lot of young cabs are very bold. Barolos, right out the bottle, very fucking bold. They're like that kid in the mall who won't stop crying, right? He just wants to go to the lid store and get a new hat. But he has 37 hats. They're all snapbacks. But he's a little white kid from the suburbs, and he idolizes black culture. But in 10 years, the tragic thing is he'll still walk around and say Blue Lives Matter, right? He's emulating black culture, but he doesn't care enough about black lives. That's a different issue. That's a different fucking issue. But at the end of the day, that is a young cab, young Pinot in the bottle. Not young Pinot, young cab, full of might, full of anger, full of immaturity. It needs time to grow in the bottle to soften and to gain more layers of flavor. It needs its mom and dad to beat the shit out of it. It needs it to get taken home, pull its pants down, slap it on the ass. I don't know why parents don't do that anymore. It's not child abuse. It's being a good fucking parent. Sometimes you got to hit your kids. Not a big deal. You hit your kids. You got to beat the shit out of this young cab, and the version of that in the wine world is putting it away. Put it away, forget about it. Put it in your cellar, forget it's there. And then you give it 4, 5, 6 years, and there's wines that you will get so much more out of if you do this with. The Nebbiolo grape, which, like I said, is the grape of Barolo or Barbaresco. These are northern Italian phenomenal wines that are built to age. What's another good one? I mean, Aglianico's, that's known as the Cabernet Sauvignon of Italy. I mean, this is a wine that you open it up 15, 20 years in the bottle. It's beautiful. It finally grew up. It figured out what it wanted to do with its life. You know, it went to college. I mean, yeah, sure, community college. It's fine. You know, yeah, it went to Hudson Community. But so what? It got an education. Now it's put together. It's a more well-rounded person. So when you open that up, you pour it in the bottle, the flavors all balance out. You're not going to say this is a completely immature, over-the-top thing. No, it has a layer of maturity to it. So that is why age in well-done wine could be so important. So I should get another bottle of this tomorrow, and I'll put it away, and maybe on our, 200th episode, knock on wood we get that far, but let's say the 200th episode, right, we pop the same wine open, and we try to think about if it's different or not from how it was, tonight.
That's amazing. Do you remember how long, or how old the oldest Pinot Noir you've had is?
The oldest Pinot I've had, I can tell you the oldest wines I've had. Some of those classic moments where you're with the right person and they have that bottle, right? And working at wine, obviously, you're able to have a little more of those moments than the average person, which is an amazing privilege. But some of the coolest bottles, when I was a sommelier at Jean Georges, one of my regulars brought in a 74 Barolo, high quality producer. I opened the bottle like an asshole, broke the cork everywhere because that cork is going to fucking disintegrate. I wasn't good enough yet with the two-prong wine opener. It's an opener that has two metal fangs pretty much you put on each side of the cork. It grips the cork as a whole, and you kind of yank it out because if you use the corkscrew, that worm would just disintegrate the cork, So opened it up, finally strained it into a decanter, and it was just fucking wild. Because when you think about Nebbiolo, when you think of Barolo, I've only been drinking at that time in my life no more than 5, 6-year-old Barolos, and they're aggressive, harsh wines. They're high tannin, high alcohol, high everything. It's like dating a Puerto Rican woman. Right? You say one wrong thing, all of a sudden your car is keyed and there's a knife through all your fucking polo shirts, right? That's a young Nebbiolo. It's out of its fucking mind. But you let it sit in the bottle for 30, 40 years, right? You open that up, everything's softened. The fruit was almost like candied. It was a candied fruit. It is a fucking 45-year-old wine, and it's showing this type of flavor. It blew my mind. That was one. Another one closer to what we're drinking, not Pinot Noir, but I had with a master sommelier at a wine dinner in New York a couple of years ago. He brought us the 1976 Chinon, and Chinon is a small region in France. Where it's the home of Cabernet Franc. Well, actually, arguably Bordeaux is, but Bordeaux and Chinon is really the first place in the world that would do 100% Cabernet Franc wines. And Cabernet Franc is also a thin-skinned grape, and it has a very rich note of fresh-cut black pepper. If you ever pick a Cabernet Franc grape off a vine and put it in your mouth, you can actually get that black pepper flavor to it. It's wild. It's fucking wild. So we had a 76 Chenone, and that thing took like an hour and a half to really open up. Every glass I had, you're just sipping on that. It's like nectar, and every glass tasted different than the last as you'd give it 20-minute intervals. And, the pepper kind of subsided, and, it was floral. It was minerally. It was, again, like almost candied red fruit. Something about the fruit in these old world wines after 40, 50 years, they turn like into like Jolly Rancher almost. It's fucking crazy.
Oh, wow.
It's tough to wrap your head around that. You gotta you gotta experience it. It's tough to explain almost. The quality of the fruit, because it's like sweet tart almost. It's very, very, very weird. But yeah, that was the other cool one. And then the last one was I think it was a 1979 German Riesling, and this was a wine for the first 10, 20 years was a sweet wine. Because with German Rieslings, it's all natural sweetness. These are wines that they do something called late harvesting. They let the grapes sit on the vine, and what happens is after they over-ripen, they start to almost raisinate. So imagine if you ever ate a raisin. Raisin's a little sweet, right?
Very.
So imagine taking raisinated grapes and pressing that juice. You're going to get less juice, but it's almost like nectar. It's going to be sweeter, right? That's why a lot of German Rieslings, expensive ones, are very sweet. It's all natural sweetness from the vineyard. So you take and there's sweetness levels called Cabinet, Auslese, Spatlese, Bierenlese, Ice Wine, Trockenbeerenlese, all these crazy German words. And it was an Auslese Riesling. And, this is a wine. I've had young Auslese Rieslings, are sweet wines, and this wine had enough age where the sweetness subsided. And it was more of a nectar. It was like kind of a subtly sweet nectar. And it just reeked of earthy, smoky minerality. So many other things were driving that bus than sweet like fruit notes, So old wine's cool. Old wine's cool, but it's got to be high quality old wine. High quality producer makes wines with the intention to age. If it's not made with that intention, not all wines are meant to age. A lot of wines, it's like, this one was kind of fucky. Drink this baby in 2-3 years, please.
Mm-hmm.
This one's going downhill. This one's going bad. It's like you're in that relationship for 3 months, you get married in Vegas. This one ain't lasting. Where are we going? What were we thinking? You just wanted to be married because your other friends were married. You were the last one. You're going out by yourself, and you didn't have the personality to just talk to women by yourself. You came off creepy because you had to do the whole thing like, I'm here with my friends. Oh, I kind of brushed into you. Oh, what's up? What's your name? Oh, this is my friend Aaron. Like, you have nothing to bring to the table. You can't just sit there and just look around and you don't have to do much. You just have to wait, for someone to make a little eye contact with you, and then you just look over and go, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm Sam, by the way. Just a quick question. Do you think that bartender's father loves her? It's not hard.
You could see it.
And, 7 times out of 10, that girl will walk away. But the 3 times out of 10, she'll go, you know what? I was kind of wondering the same fucking thing. What do you think? And now you just set yourself up for a beautiful 2-hour conversation with a stranger. It's not that hard. You just have to be a person.
And you'll connect just like that.
You'll connect. It's easy. I'm taking another sip of this guy.
About to pour some more. Yeah, sorry, I got my cardiac MRI paperwork in the shot here. I'll get this out of here.
Is that what that was? Oh, yeah. Man.
Some extra tests on my heart to make sure I'm good after Vax 2.
They hired the receptionist with the overly bubbly handwriting.
I noticed that. I'm like,
overly write the mailer that gave your death wish.
I was terrified. I was like, is this a bill? They purposely have some very, like you said, bubbly, happily handwriting on it to make sure.
She writes the letters to the families whose children didn't make it, and it's just in bubbly handwriting where the eyes have little hearts on the top of them. It dumbs down the blow. Nice. I like what you did there. We got the pour.
Little splash sound action.
Little splashy splash. This just goes down like fucking butter, right? Isn't it fucking awesome?
It's amazing.
So, thank you for coming to the show last week. I do appreciate that. You're a good friend.
Phenomenal show. Thanks for the invite. Thanks for the early heads up.
Yeah, man.
It was amazing show.
No, man. Whenever you just drive into the Upper West Side on a Wednesday, I know it's like moderately aggressive, but you came in. Lucas too, as much as we fuck around with him. Lucas is one of the nicest human beings I know. I'm very thankful for him as a friend. He's just a little charming little nugget of creative energy, and I just wanna hug him.
Absolutely. And spoiler alert, but since some nice advice from episode 2 came out, he's left TD Bank, so he's got some more time. So I am helping him. He's got a laptop on the way. I'm teaching him some Premiere Pro, some video editing.
He's completely done with TD. He's left it entirely.
Yeah.
Good for him. All right.
Now I'll let him.
Was it the graphic tee rant that really made it?
I'll let him tell you. He's got some.
It was that interview that he nailed.
He's crushed it.
He crushed that interview. Just sitting there with braids and like a little artist, just talking about his feelings. They're like, we just want to know if you can work Tuesdays and Fridays. Yeah. Well, I think my music's important. Blah, blah. Sir, you're bilingual. We don't have anyone here. Can you work Tuesdays and Fridays? You know that was the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's good. That's healthy for him. He doesn't need it. I mean, it's fine. Always have, more money's better, whatever.
Yeah, he seems much happier already, which is great.
Yeah, he doesn't need it. He's good. You guys, the calendar's getting booked up. Wedding season, right?
It's wedding season.
That's nice. But yeah, no, man, I appreciate you coming to the show. Thank you for everyone that came to that show, to the Vino Comic Show at Stand Up New York last Wednesday. Fun turnout. Fun crowd. I love the gays. They're just such amazing, powerful people. Their energy is contagious. They're powerful. They're going to take over the world. The gays are going to take over the world. They are, especially the talented ones. Now there's talented and shitty people in every way, shape, and form. There's plenty of gay men. It has nothing to do with being gay. It's like you're just an asshole and you're just moody and you don't have a good personality. There's even more straight people just like that too, right? But the talented gay men out there, man, can just bring so much to society. They renovate towns. They clean up wardrobes. Mm-hmm. They bedazzle everything. They create positive energy. They give back to the community. They start 100%. Nonprofits. They know their wine. They know their food.
Their fashion.
They start new trends. As a straight person, you want to be a part of it. It makes you more metro. It's a beautiful thing. And there was a good turnout of some fabulous gay men at the show. That was very nice. They really added to the energy of the show. Which of my friends was your favorite act?
Oh.
Or like who was an act of one of the comics on the show that really stood out to you?
I think they all stood out. But if you phrase it like that, who stood out to the most? I think Craig stood out a lot.
Isn't he brilliant?
Yeah.
He's fucking brilliant.
Absolutely, because he just came in with like a totally different energy that I appreciated, and it was just like,
yeah.
I can't even elaborate it, but
it was probably the best joke writer I know. It's absurd. He's gonna come on the show when his hour. He's producing his first album, his first hour, and after that releases, he's gonna pop on the show. We're gonna talk about it. We'll play clips from it and stuff. We probably won't. He probably won't want us to do that, but we will ask him, and we'll just kind of nerd out. He's a great guy. He gets deep, man. Good for this show.
Mm-hmm.
Very deep conversations, to the point where you're almost confused at times. You're trying to follow this like Jumanji type of conversation, and it just goes so deep, but it's so real. And he'll just say things that are almost vague, but yet they're spot on. It's like a sniper, but yet he speaks in vaguities, and it's just. It's very enjoyable. I'm very thankful to be his friend. It's an enjoyable thing to just kind of be in the room with and then try to add to, But no, he was great. The bigger story of the show is just you and Lucas's getup. You guys were dressed to the nines.
A lot of the comics wanted to take part of that. And
every single one.
Some of them appreciating it. Some of them shitting on our lives.
Oh, for sure. But also I was so proud of you. I felt like you were, as a newer friend, I've watched you almost turned from like a older boy to a man.
Elaborate.
I will. I will. Just your presence, you and your formidable suitor were dressed to the Brooklyn Williamsburg nines.
Yes.
Just dressed to the thrift shop nines. Dressed to the oversized, confusion of farm to table energy. And that energy was like two little sprouting flowers on the corner of Bushwick and 4th Street that were just going to unravel their vines together and form a child, but it wouldn't be a real child, like a real person. It would be like a handmade stool that you would sell for $650 at the local antique shop, even though it was built 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the love child of what you and this lovely young lady, you could say her name, it would produce. And, dude, she's into you. She's a fan of you.
Oh, she's great.
And you're a fan of her.
We're mutual fans.
And it's funny how we met.
Indeed.
Her sister was there, and, I knew there was a positive energy from even that first night. You were enjoying their presence.
For sure.
And the two of you just look good together. It just makes sense. It makes sense that I would meet you at, like, some house party rave in Bushwick in one of those like factory-looking apartments, and that I would just trip acid with the two of you. And I'm not saying that you guys need to do that together. You don't, but that there's a nice positive vibe to that. What are your thoughts on the progression of this? Where do you see it going? You seem excited about it, and I know that you're not trying to unveil too much, but when I bring this up, your balls definitely tingle a little bit.
Oh yeah, very excited about it. And even, I guess one of the first times we hung out outside of, we met her at the wine bar, the little interactions with Yelp Girl and the whole review and everything. And then, had him on the podcast. And then shortly after, invited the sisters over to one of my Wednesday spirit. And I think it was the first time we had like a mixology night, like combining different like boozy drinks with the chef. So we had like our buddy come over who likes to cook, who made some like a steak and bourbon night.
Yeah, there's so many things in your arsenal that would turn a girl like that on. Because that is a woman who is turned on by a world of obscurities and, things that are like ironic. Like that's a real Brooklyn thing. Everything's got to be ironic. This is so ironic that it's techno vodka club and meatball night here in Somerville. How ironic.
Very much so.
She wore a blazer that was bigger than her entire body. How ironic. That is that's the world she lives in. That's kind of the world you live in a little bit. You like to dabble in that world, which I respect.
For sure.
Your energies just sink.
100%. Yeah, and I think it was a great start. I mean, she was interested in a lot of things that I'm also proficient in. She was wondering a little bit of piano, even after you left the podcast, trying to get a little piano lesson in. And afterwards,
trying to get some piano lessons in.
Yeah, and afterwards she'd be like, "Oh my gosh, you usually charge for this, don't you?" I'm like, it's on the house. It's fine. Don't worry about it."
That's what you say, for sure. And I feel like the two of you might have been a little touchy-feely at some point. We don't have to, expose all of that. I'm sure there's plenty beautifully crafted Instagram DM conversations who would get jealous at how this relationship is progressing. But you're a single man, and you have the right to play the field. But I think, you might have met your match. I think you might have met someone who fits all the layers, fits all the obscurities, is equally ironic. The most ironic thing is that you met the other most Brooklyn person who lives nowhere near Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And
exactly.
And on top of it, you're both Eastern European. You both would survive in a communist state.
Oh yeah,
you'd be fine. It wouldn't be fun, but like I would die because I opened my big stupid mouth and I would say something about the dictator that I shouldn't be saying in front of the wrong people because I can't read the room, and I would be beheaded. You would just kind of flow with it. You would be the guy at the nightclub bar, drinking Everclear, kind of like, very moderately protesting being a part of the movement, but not being too big of a part of it. You would move in silence. You and her would just move in Eastern European silence.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that silence gets back to the 1-bedroom apartment you live in, you'd have that, I mean, Europe is the home of sex toys, of shackles, of chains, of handcuffs, of ass play. It's the home of swinging. It's the home of being in the moment. You would go back there, she would probably handcuff you, and she would tell you that we're never getting out of this dictatorship, and you would come. That is the world. You guys can live in that world. I'm not saying that's your ideal world, but that's the world that you could play ball in. Like, for me, I need capitalism. I need America. I need a bunch of people that don't know how to pronounce things correctly and can't spell. I need a place that is, easily one of the, arguably the richest country in this world. We are the richest country in the world. But, we have the, we're top 100 in education. It's fun. It's just, it's a hobby. Education's a hobby here.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate your confidence that I could survive not only there, but in a lot of different situations. You're saying I could survive in like Dubai and kind of just kind of weasel my way through strange scenarios.
You know how to flow. Go with the flow. A lot of people don't know how to do that. That's what I mean. It's one of those things where when the world does end, the people that are going to kind of weasel their way to the next step of where things are going to go, the people that aren't going to die in the first phase, are the people that can go with the flow. Go with the flow. Find the bunker. Doomsday prep a little bit. Meet the right family that's been prepping for decades. Go with the flow. Take their word. Move on to the next safe house. You and your Eastern European girlfriend, it's just like apocalyptic Russia. No big deal. Go with the flow. Find the wetlands area. Build a teepee. Go with the flow. Have a couple canned goods. Look at the stars together. Try to formulate your next path based on how quickly you see the Big Dipper. Go with the flow. Right? Hop on a train. Go to the next country. Rules are a little bit more lax. Things haven't collapsed yet. Go with the flow. I would question things too much. I would talk too much. I would say too much. I would do too much. You go with the flow.
Yeah. Speaking of go with the flow, I was really excited for her to come with me to your show. And so she was going to come with me to the show. Great success. But then she canceled. She said she's going to her mother's dinner.
Oh yeah. This got very interesting.
So
this is a good story. I think you should share the full story. I think it's very funny, and it shows this is the epitome of go with the flow. This is that way you rectified this was brilliant, my friend.
So I was really excited for her to come. She's coming, but then, oh yeah, very sorry, I can't come. I have to go to my mom's dinner. I'm like, oh okay, well, our producer here, Lucas, he's showing up with a date. I can't show up not with a date. So even if it's just like a friend or something. So I go into, I don't know if I've told you this before, but in the contacts of my phone within the company, I put a lot of notes. Like I'll put
you take notes on people
in the company so that my contacts are searchable.
That's the most Russian thing about you. That's fantastic.
So I'll be like,
you have notes on me. I know you have notes on me. I know that you have a time rail when you're going to kill me. I know. It's a matter of time.
Nothing like that. It'll be like, met at Vintage May 26th at a Nick Ryan show. They expressed interest in coming to Donovan's. Or in the past, it was like Brooklyn met at a rave, Power Rangers theme, lives in Queens, like has to go. And there's little things,
smart.
But like
That's
even
smart.
more related to professional things. I have I type into my contacts bass player. Mm-hmm. Bunch of people come up. I type in drummer. A bunch of people come up, and hopefully the state
last minute fill-ins. Type drummer. Go down the line. There you go. Okay.
Exactly.
So let's get back to what happened with this story regarding the tickets. This got interesting.
So regarding the tickets, yeah. So I did want someone to come, and I know it was last minute. And it was a Wednesday, so I just type into my contacts New York. Start going through what comes up when I type New York into my contacts. And come across this name Jenny, and I reach out, and one of our last texts was from 2017, and it was like sent to the wrong Robbie. So like I don't even know when the last time we reached out before, maybe it was 2016, but I have it in my
that one had legs to it. So,
yeah,
so she was a no.
Yeah, so it was just someone that I met like at a concert in Brooklyn before, and like
And to solidify what you're saying to the listeners and viewers, your current formidable suitor was one of them. She initially agreed.
Oh, she was number one.
And then this was obviously the person you wanted to bring.
Sure.
She agreed, and then what happened? She realized that she didn't think she could make it.
Right.
So then you found a, we don't want to say replacement, but somebody to come in replace of the person who really we wanted to come. So what do you call that? It is what it is. You found a replacement.
But then the day of the show, actually, I think it was around 1 p.m., day of the show, I get a call from the number one, and she goes, oh, it's wild. My mom, she didn't even want to have dinner with me. She just planned to do something else.
Of course not, because she's European, and then you guys, they don't show their feelings, and everything's fine. That's what you got to love about Europeans. They look at you like, what, you want to have dinner? Is everything okay? Are you stable? Are you alive? Okay, good. That's what I love about the French. It's like, okay, yes, we hang, yeah. Are you good? I'm good. Okay, good. It's like no bullshit. So she realized that her loveless Yugoslavian mother was like, are we good? We're good. So she was now able to come.
Yeah, and she even told her mom, oh yeah, I was gonna go to this comedy show, and her mom was like, yeah, go to the comedy show. What are you doing? Why would you
want to form a relationship with me? Who gives a fuck? Family's a fallacy. So now she's coming again.
Yeah, she's coming again. But what I had done, and what Stand Up New York wanted us to do, is to put the name of who we were bringing on the ticket. So I put my name on my ticket, of course, and then I'd put Jenny's name on what would no longer be Jenny's ticket.
Which is such a side chick name, Jenny. Jenny. Stand Up New York knew you had a side chick. That's why they were fine with it. They understood that the main prospect was now able to come because was grown up in a loveless family, which is the best thing about her. So now she's coming to the show, and you have to figure out a little name swap.
Yeah, exactly. So I just called Jenny. I'm like, hey, listen, the person that originally coming decided to bail, and she was like, oh, okay, no worries, that's fine. So I canceled on Jenny. Was trying to just be calm on the phone, and she's like, oh, you can come. That's great. I'm really happy about it. And just immediately called Jenny, like, oh yeah, you can't come. Don't worry about it. And then I'm thinking a little bit how this is going to go down. I'm like, how can they go? I think I called him while I was working out with Charlie.
You did call me, and then Charlie chimed in. Charlie chimed in and talked about how the squat is life, and I just said, the comedy club doesn't care. They got your money. You're going to be fine. They just want you to come to the show. Just change the name real quick, and if you want me to, I'll tell her. The girl that runs the front desk there at the club is very sweet. She's awesome. I'll just let her know it was a name change, and then you were all freaking out, and he was talking about how the squad is life. So you didn't really have the mentor in the moment to help you with that situation.
Right.
It was more like you can't relate everything to the squat. At this point, there's a lot of things the squat could help you with, but in this situation, what you're trying to tell the listeners is that the squat could not help you here.
Yeah, I was in between reps. I was sweating, and I was like, I'm mentally unclear. I need to figure out what the security is like over at Stand Up New York. I'm going to call the man who knows, and I'm trying to figure out how to do it. Yeah. He's laughing at me. And what I end up doing is I get the PDF of the ticket that has her name. It says, download your tickets, print here, and then present them at the door. So I take the tickets, I take it as a PDF, I convert it into a JPEG, and then I bring it into Photoshop. And then I kind of white paint over the name, and then I export that from Photoshop, bring it back to a PDF, and then send it to my email. And I try, and then send it immediately to Lucas, who's over running to Kinko's to print it really quick, because we don't have a printer here. So he goes, he's printing it, and he's first going to print mine and with the one with Jenny's name on it. He leaves doing that, and I'm just like, something's gonna go wrong with that. So I'm in there in Photoshop printing it. I'm like, no wait, don't buy it yet. I'm sending you something immediately. So just quickly try to Photoshop, send it over to him. He sends me those back. Thinking I'm all set. And then she's actually going to drive me in there. I'm really excited about that, but also really nervous about how I don't want her to get upset about anything. There's nothing to be upset about. Like,
For sure.
I barely even know Jenny, but it's just like something I want this to go well. I don't want her to.
And this shows you care. This shows that you would be committed, which is great. What this also shows is that, like 20, 30 years ago, right? I mean, when you were dating around, playing the field, I mean, before the technology was like really there, you could fucking get away with murder. You could do, just watch the show Mad Men. I mean, these fucking douchebags were out every night. They had whole other relationships for years, and like the wives just stayed home and fucking, it was before women had rights, and it was just like the darkness there was one thing. And then what happened is obviously, technology caught up to that fuckery, and now you can't really get away with anything if you're not technologically sound to combat it. But you, my friend, and this I think is going to be a big Gen Z thing coming up. There's going to be more men and women, I think, that are going to really be able to play the field as single people because they're going to be so technologically sound. They're going to be able to open up a PDF, do a virtual whiteout over it, reprint it, send it to Russia, get it back in a new font, print it out at Kinko's, wherever the fuck you said you went, repurpose the ticket online, submit that PDF to the comedy club, and then do a little bit of code on the back end of Stand Up New York's website, recode the ticketing platform, and now print a new ticket that never knew Jenny fucking existed. And that is the modern day player. The modern day player is someone who can just hack a website, hack the mainframe. That gets back to what I've been saying about you from day one. Your biggest asset while you're on the dating scene is when in doubt, you can hack the mainframe. And this was an opportunity. You had to hack the mainframe, or it might have got back to her. So, and now it's going to get back to her on the show. That's okay.
Yeah, and it didn't end there. I was nervous the whole drive there. In fact, I'm waiting for her on the porch, and I just try to make myself a mezcal sour. We barely have any mezcal. I just throw mezcal and tequila and other things into a mix. I'm sitting on the porch drinking this. Like this is not gonna go wrong. This is gonna be totally fine. Yeah. And then I think about the whole time as we park in the city, we're walking up. I'm trying to text Lucas, like, Lucas, are you here yet? Can you distract her as I talk to the door?
Yeah, you were very,
person.
very nervous about this. You really thought this was going to grow legs. You really did. You came in, you looked a little nervous. You were like a little bit hyperventilating, which you don't sweat a whole lot because you don't have any body fat, so nothing really warms up your body. So you're not a big sweater, and you're also like I am like this with you. You're very good in the cold. I feel like you could just kind of be on 6th Avenue, New York in the dead of winter with like a windbreaker, and you get that wind chill come down the avenue streets, and you would be fine. You wouldn't even really be phased too much. So, you were as nervous as I've seen you, and then once you got settled in, it was a successful night. I feel like I can read people decently well, and there were fireworks, my friend. There were definitely some fireworks.
Things were going well. So when we first arrived, I had to go to the bathroom, and go to the bathroom. You just go to the bathroom too, don't you? And so I went to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom really quick, and then sprinted upstairs and just started talking to the door girl, like, hey, this is my name, and my date has this name. She's wearing this, and then it's fine. Jenny was like, yeah, no, she's with me. Like when you see me with her, we're gonna be good. It's gonna be fine. You're gonna let us through, right? Like eye contact, we're good.
Yeah,
phenomenal. Okay. A couple minutes later, we go up there. She walks up and she goes, oh, what's your name? What's your reservation name? I'm like, nope. She's with me. It's fine. My name's Robbie Sco, blah, blah, and she's with me, etc. Okay. And I'm just like, and she's like, okay, well, what's your? I'm like, no, she's with me. Remember, I told you, like we're cool, right? We come in, and then she goes, yeah. So yeah, she goes, so this is Jenny. I'm like, oh yeah, sure. And,
shit
and she's walking through.
Shit the bed.
And I was immediately, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh, look at this room. Oh wow, isn't that cool? Look at the lighting. Look at the stage. I'm like trying to forget the fact she just heard fucking Jenny out of nowhere.
Especially because, again, that is the name of the home wrecker. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it'd be different if it was, I don't know, what's it? Like Meredith. And it's like, all right.
Oh, Meredith, yeah.
All right. Well, Meredith is looking for the one. I'm not concerned about Meredith.
Yeah, Beth.
Meredith is fine.
Beth.
Beth's kind of a slut. Meredith is fine. I'm a slut. What am I saying? So, but Jenny, man, Jenny's the one in the yoga pants that's fucking the neighbor while the wife's out doing nonprofit work. That's what Jenny does. That's the name. It was a bad name for the circumstance that you were in. It was a bad name. Jenny is like, if she had a stripper name, it would be Chastity. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
This is someone who's been there, done that. I will break you. I will move on. Jenny. Don't fuck with Jenny.
But yeah, man, like you said, things seem to be going well. You know, touchy-feely enjoying yourselves during the show.
Now, let's talk about how this relationship has been evolving thus far. Has it been? Are we still in the firework phase, or has there start to maybe be some comments of things nitpicking each other? Has she spoken to you about your haircut? Does she approve? Has she spoken to you about anything else? Are we at the stage yet where she's like, things are really going great, but this one thing that you do, I would wish you stopped doing it. Have you got to that stage yet, or is it still in the just completely new, Lady and Tramp love?
We're rocking fireworks. She hasn't been complaining about the crazy haircut or any of the strange things I'm doing.
Not saying she should. I'm just like, I threw an example out there, right? So okay, so you're still in the firework phase. So this is the phase, you want to really enjoy it. Take it for what it's worth. Enjoy these moments.
Exactly. I'll sneak one more Jenny moment in here. So we're enjoying the night the whole time going through. We go to after party at the bar. Thanks for inviting us. Yep. Having a good time. Drive all the way back. Have a little fun in the bedroom. Slightly after climax, I'm in the POC. I call it the post-orgasmic chill. And just right after that, she goes, "So tell me about this girl you were supposed to bring to the show tonight."
Ooh. Okay, so she knew the whole time.
I was like, oh,
she knew the whole time.
So she knew the whole time, and then she finally brings it off right in that moment. Right when
I respect that, man. Wait until post come. Wait until post come and dropping it. That's a keeper.
Oh,
that's a keeper.
Amazing.
Dude, that's the greatest thing she's done since I've known her. That's the greatest thing I've heard she's done. She has my support more than ever because I feel the need to look out for you. I want you to be happy. I care about you as a friend, and you're a great catch. So you got to find this person that has to be still a complete psycho. She has to be someone that definitely puts herself out there, takes chances, says some things that might potentially confuse or offend the room because that's also me and you. That's what you need. That's the type of energy that makes you better, that energizes you, right? So I think she has all those variables. So, I mean, hey, man, you have my blessing, and, I look forward to hearing how the Eastern European style sex evolves because it gets dark very quickly. It does. You're going to be hogtied in about 2 months.
Oh, sounds fun.
You'll be hogtied. Maybe a chastity device on the penis, a little dildo coming out the ass, maybe a ball gag. I'm telling you, gets slippery very quickly. Eastern Europe, man. That's where all the kinks started. That's amazing. Where swinging started. I mean, swinging is just part of the lifestyle over there. I mean, it's such the fact that it's still even remotely taboo here shows how immature and gymboree our country is. Our country is such this beautiful, cute, unintellectual gymboree type of energy that we have here compared to most European countries. I mean, they've kind of more been there, done that, and they're this is as good as it gets. We still think it's going to get better. I think that's also part of it. We still think that the best days are ahead, even though we're the first generation to make significantly less wealth than our parents, and we actually might be the second, right? It's still we instill a delusional positivity in our children that I think is healthy to the age of 22, 23. I mean, it can't continue. The issue is it continues. It's you have people working dead-end jobs in their 30s that are talking about, you fall down 7 times, get back up 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
The motivational Rocky quotes keep going into your 30s, I was born this way. I was meant to do what I came here to do. It's you work for Petco. You've been with the company for 7 years. Clearly, you're not the biggest risk taker.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that is a fun part of our country, but let's call it for what it is, I think it's nice that you found somebody that she was born in Europe, right? I think they came over here, right? Yeah. So again, good for the brand. What is better for the brand than that? Lucas can take a page out of her book.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was crazy. That was Wednesday, and then Friday, coincidentally, she and her sister and her friends were planning a birthday in Asbury Park, and they ended up staying at the hotel where I was playing a wedding the same night. So met up with her 2 days later there, we're hanging there, and the following night as well. So, and then I'm playing a few gigs at Down the Shore this Wednesday and Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a hotel this Wednesday and Thursday over there. She's coming to visit, so things are heating up.
It's gonna be fun.
Very happy about it.
Now, how is the sister doing? Is she supporting this? Is she a fan of you thus far? Is she going to try to become involved? I wouldn't put that past her. Would she try to infiltrate? How is the sister dynamic happening as you are getting closer with this person?
I also coincidentally am playing a gig Down the Shore on the sister's birthday weekend. And I think the sister had said something to the likes of, if you think you're going to spend that whole weekend with Robbie, you might as well not even come. And I think she had since dialed back a bit from she's like, hey, it's my birthday weekend,
Yeah.
They'll be there the whole time. So there's a little bit of resistance, but also I have just connected with her on my nerdery with YouTube because she wants to start a YouTube channel like she mentioned. So I've been helping her. I've had a lot of experience with just different channels that can really help you with your YouTube growth.
Yeah, she wants to grow her hate speech. That's important. Yeah. I wish her
based on the business model.
Yeah, I would support it. I would be there with her. I would help support her hate speech, whatever she wants to talk about, whatever things that she didn't read about yet, she wants to rant about. I love her. I think her energy is great. I would love to, support whatever endeavor she's gonna, her wild brain is gonna try to do. This is fun. We are really coming in hot with this relationship. We're going to see where this goes. We're going to talk more about it. It was fun to see it firsthand. This is why stand-up comedy brings people together, folks. You go to a comedy show, a good one, and that's the key word, because for every good one, there's 57 bad ones. But when you go to a good one and you have a good show from start to finish, it brings out the positive energy. It makes you realize you're not as fucked up as you think you are. Your problems are much more normal than you think they are. And there's nothing fucking hotter than that when you have a little attractive Yugoslavian date that you're on your third date with, who's wearing an oversized blazer. Looks like she just rolled out of the Bushwick area, and she is back in the big city, and she's here in the Upper West Side, out on the town with you. And that energy, that comedic energy, man, is contagious. That's why, as dark an art form as stand-up comedy is, if for the people who enjoy it, this is why it's so rewarding. It makes people happy. It fucking makes people break out of their funk. If only the actual comedians could break out of their funk and be remotely okay to talk to, that would be another positive. But it comes with the territory. When you spiel all of your inner thoughts and feelings out to strangers, it's going to have a little bit of collateral damage. But I think the comedy show was a big positive move here.
And it's a big help that all the fucking comics just killed it. It was
a good lineup. Very good lineup. Literally, John threw on Louis C.K.'s opener at the end. I had to follow her, which was tough because she was 10 times the comedian I am. But that was a phenomenal fucking lineup. And man, we'll have more fun with that. I definitely want to get back out. I was supposed to do a Vino comic tour at some wineries pre-COVID. Was supposed to do that in the springtime. COVID hit. I've been procrastinating. I'm not gonna lie. Not really procrastinating. I just don't have fucking time, dude. It's like, the guy I work for wants to open another thing, and I'm not complaining. It's exciting. It's fucking dope. But man, I need to put together like a small little tour, get the set a little tighter, grow the set from a half hour to really kind of finish the full 45 minutes or 50 minutes, whatever it's going to be. And I would love to re-record it. I recorded it, the full set, right before the pandemic hit. And I was pretty happy with it, but I think it would be really cool to do it again in a different location. I did it in the Finger Lakes. Maybe do it in Jersey, maybe do it in Long Island, but time will tell with that. Cool. Well, ladies and gents, as always, it's been the Digestif. You can follow us on Instagram at @the_Digestif. The Instagram page is live. The videos are out. If you missed the show, feel free to check out the video clips. We're also going to put video clips on that page from undisclosed episodes, tester episodes, episodes where you can see the birth of the Digestif. We did work on this show for a good month before we started putting out actual content. We were trying to feel things out. I didn't know if Robbie was a male or a female. I had to figure that out. I didn't know if Lucas was legally here or not. There's a lot of things I had to figure out. Could you imagine the stress I was going through? So we needed to record for 4 to 5 weeks and figure out what the fuck this was going to be.
On?
We're in a little apartment in central New Jersey in a fun little town. And out of respect and love for you and Lucas, these guys literally built a studio in their living room. So we're not stopping. We're going to keep going. This is going to be fun. As always, I've been Sam Mushman. You can follow me on Instagram at Vino_comic, sammushman.com. Check that out. Going to be doing more dates soon. Robbie Sco, where can they find you, hear about you?
Yeah, so Instagram, we got Robbie Sco, and if you're into very nerdy things, on YouTube, Robbie Sco, where I post weird things about computer tech and recording music.
All right. Until next time, thank you.